Reptile.
You will not read my thoughts.
There is very little to read.
Hello guys, and welcome to another MK Mobile character review, today featuring Ronin Kenshi. As usual guys, please note the date when this video has been recorded, because a lot of things may have changed since then, and if you're not familiar with the matrix I'm using in order to evaluate characters, you can find it on the top right corner of the screen. So without any further ado, let us put Ronin Kenshi to the test. Ronin Kenshi guys was released on the 11th of November 2015, and his original price in the old store was 390 souls. So after update 2.0, as usual, he got promoted to Diamond, and now he is the leader of the Ronin Diamond team. So let us check if he is worth that honor. His attack is 54,432, which is the 8th highest in MK Mobile. The hit points, they are 83,712, they rank 30th highest in the game. The toughness is 56,700, which is, attention, the 2nd highest in Mortal Kombat Mobile. And the recovery is 46,116, which is the 70th highest in the game. The power generation is also pretty good, 120%. So for his stats, Ronin Kenshi is going to get the solid 22 out of 28 possible points. Special one of Ronin Kenshi guys is called Tele Push, and here it is what you need to know about it. First of all, when it comes to whether this special attack is unblockable or not, the answer is it depends. It depends on Ronin Kenshi has utilized his passive, so I'll be giving some points here. In addition, the special attack sadly doesn't have any buff or debuff whatsoever. It can be cast from distance though, even at long range it will be fine. It is lethal, it consists of only one mini hit, and it has the horizontal or vertical swipe as mini game. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the ability is 20,657, which ranks the 14th highest in the game. The maximum damage is 41,314, which is the 10th highest in MK Mobile. Once again, the special attack is kind of unblockable. It can be cast from distance. It doesn't have any buff or debuff, unfortunately. It is lethal, it consists of only one mini hit, and it has the horizontal or vertical swipe as mini game. So for his special one, Tele Push, Ronin Kenshi is going to get 7.4 out of 13 possible points. There isn't anything special about the name of Special 2 of Ronin Kenshi. Once again, it has Tele inside it, and it is called Tele Suspend.
And sometimes if you're creative and you don't have anything else to do, you can build some pretty hilarious stuff out of this special attack.
And like his special one, this ability is partially unblockable. It all depends on whether Ronin Kenshi has utilized his passive. In addition, unlike his special one, this time we have a debuff, Stun, which is always useful. Unfortunately guys, I reckon that this special attack cannot be cast from distance. I was in a doubt, to be honest, but like I have mentioned multiple times, every time when I'm in a doubt about this, I am checking how the ability behaves after the combo of a character, and unfortunately in Ronin Kenshi's case it will often fail from distance. Therefore I decided to deduct all points in this section. In addition, the ability is lethal, it consists of 3 mini hits, and it has the multi-tap circle as a mini game. When it comes to damage, the picture is getting much better. The minimum damage is 53,708, which is the 9th highest in the game, and the maximum damage is 105,350, which is the 6th highest in MK Mobile. It is true, Ronin Kenshi can deal insane amounts of damage with his special 2. So let's take a closer look at it once again. It is partially unblockable depending on the passive, it has Stun as debuff, it cannot be cast from distance, it is lethal, it consists of 3 mini hits, and it has the multi-tap circle as mini game. So for his special 2, Ronin Kenshi is going to get 13.6 out of 19 possible points. Okay guys, what do we know about the X-ray of Ronin Kenshi? First of all, it has power as buff, which is always useful. Unfortunately though, it cannot be cast from distance. You know, he will adopt this position as if he is thinking about whether he left the oven open at home, and he will completely miss the X-ray in the process, wasting 3 bars of power, and that isn't good. When it comes to damage, the damage of the ability is 123,942, which is the 16th highest in the game. Once again, the X-ray has power generation as buff, and it cannot be cast from distance. So for his third special ability, Ronin Kenshi is going to get 1.7 out of 4 possible points, and the total amount of points he gets for his special attacks adds up to 22.7 out of 36 possible. Okay guys, we got to the basic attacks. In my opinion, Ronin Kenshi is one of the best fighters in the game. Reason being, he has one of the best chainings in MK Mobile. It is true that his punching speed is not the best in the world. He has pretty huge gaps between his basic punches, but at the same time, his chaining once again is flawless. Now, I'm not saying that he is the best fighter in the game, I'm not saying that he has the best basic attacks in the game. And before I get there, I just want to mention one thing. Ronin Kenshi is really bad if you have cornered the enemy. So, once the enemy doesn't have anywhere else to go, you are in a lot of trouble. You have to tag Ronin Kenshi out. Reason being, Ronin Kenshi has very bad recovery speed after his combo, which is perfectly compensated by the fact that the enemy is away from him and he needs to start running towards him. And that's fine, you can start another combo by then, but if you cannot push the enemy away if the enemy is cornered, you still have to deal with the slow recovery speed, which leaves Ronin Kenshi extremely vulnerable for counterattack. So keep that in mind, guys. If you have cornered an opponent using Ronin Kenshi, tag Ronin Kenshi out. You don't want him in the fight any longer because you are going to get wrecked. With that said, there is another negative about his basic attacks, and this is of course the fact that he has some kind of a wide gaps between his punches, like Hanzo Hasashi for example, and that is a problem. Apart from that, his basics are flawless, he doesn't require block breaker, he is just that good. Every single combo pushes the enemy away. You just have to be aware of the fact that once cornered, the enemy gets extremely dangerous for you, and you have to tag Ronin Kenshi out. And if I have to be honest, there is one more negative about his basic attacks, and it is the fact that his initiation speed is not really that great. So sometimes he can be, let's say, outsmarted by characters that have faster initiation speed. So even if he pushes them away, they can still cut him off guard. With that said, I believe that 8.8 is a good mark for his basic attacks. He can do perfectly fine without block breakers, but if given block breakers, he is simply unstoppable. So the final verdict for the basic attacks is 8.8. Okay guys, it is time to talk about the passive of Ronin Kenshi, which is called Kenjutsu, and here it is what it does. I quote, "When Kenshi blocks a special attack, his attacks gain 100% unblockable and critical for 4 seconds, plus 30% attack for each Ronin teammate versus martial artist. On top of that, Ronin characters do 10% more damage versus Cold War characters." Joking aside, Ronin Kenshi is the guy who can deal massive amount of damage with his special 1, special 2. I've seen people dealing more than 1 million damage in faction wars using Ronin Kenshi special 2. It is insane. This passive can deal, I don't know, I cannot even comprehend the heights you can go by using special 2 in terms of damage. It is amazing. With that said, the problem with this passive is that first, the second part of it works only in a Ronin team and only against martial artists, which is not really bad thing because there are so many good martial artists like MK11 Scorpion, like Classic Lucan and so on and so forth. But at the same time, what happens if you don't face martial artists, and what happens if you don't want to block? Because you should be on the offensive, right? You should be hitting them, you should be blocking, waiting for the enemy to hit you, and that's the main problem. This Kenshi is kind of squishy, he has very high toughness, but in general his health is low. So he cannot really block forever, he's going to get lower and lower and lower. And if at some point your opponent breaks your block, then you are in a lot of trouble because literally this passive can get you killed. you need to have perfect timing and perfect knowledge of the AI in order to utilize it to the best extent. And that's the biggest problem with the Ronin team. They don't have plan B. They don't have some character to save them, right? Let's take the Red team, for example. They can regenerate. A Cold War team, they have shields. Assassin team, they can evade. Strike Force team, they have Strike Force Scorpion, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to Ronin team, they don't have plan B. So it is really risky relying heavily on Ronin Kenshi's passive. The unblockable part of it. So yeah, I kind of see this passive more like, I don't know, something to enjoy, something to test, just to experience the massive damage it can deal. But when it comes to the practical side of the things, I am not really a fan of it. Even though I have to admit that love destroying martial artists with just 5 or 6 basic attacks that deal massive amount of damage. Still, you have to know when to block. If you don't know that, you're going to get wrecked by trying to utilize the passive. This is the reason why I'll be giving him 16.5 out of 20 possible points. Kenshi is just a martial artist, so he gets 1 point for classes and 0 points for tagging attack. Okay guys, it is time to decide whether Ronin Kenshi is a good character. And let's start with the fact that I love Ronin Kenshi. He is so much fun to play. I really enjoy playing with him. I enjoy doing massive damage with this character by doing special 1, special 2, basic attacks, it doesn't matter. He's simply so much fun to play compared to other Ronins in the game, compared to other Kenshis in the game. So let's take a look at the bigger picture. Ronin Kenshi has decent stats for a diamond character, not the best but definitely not bad. Also his special 1 and special 2 are decent, especially after he has successfully blocked an attack. Then those 2 special attacks are deadly. His X-ray is okay, his passive is very fun, but once again kind of risky, and sometimes it is just an overkill because special 2 will kill your opponent. It doesn't matter whether the passive is triggered or not, but the passive works pretty good on his special 1, which is deadly 99% of the cases if you have successfully triggered your passive. So in general, Ronin Kenshi by far my favorite Ronin character, my favorite Kenshi in the game. In general, I'll put him in top 10 most funniest characters to play in Mortal Kombat Mobile. I just love Ronin Kenshi. I just destroying characters by doing 2 fast special 1s after a successful block, but I have to admit that this character is not the best choice for survival mode, because even if you have the perfect timing, even if you know which characters special attacks to block, you might get faced against some guys with unblockable special attacks, and then you get killed basically. You don't have plan B, it is just all we know, you're just going to put every card on the table and you have to try to win. If you fail, you fail. If you manage to win, then you're going to have a lot of fun. So very rewarding character, very risky character, but very fun to play at the same time. So I'll be giving him 3 out of my 3 subjective points. I simply love Ronin Kenshi, and with my subjective points he's going to score 75, and we can label him as a great character. Once again, Ronin Kenshi, the final verdict is great character. Okay guys, is Ronin Kenshi a good starter? The answer is yes and no, depending on the items you have. If you have certain items, then Ronin Kenshi is a decent starter. If you don't, then he is a risky opener. Which are the items? I will get into details later in this section. When it comes to the characters that he counters, well, he is equally good against anybody, but he isn't really good against MK11 Jade and Assassin Jade because they can evade his special attack. Same applies to Relentless Jason. 50% chance to evade the brutal damage that's coming out of Kenshi. Kenshi really doesn't like that. And now we are coming to the items. I mentioned in the beginning that there are specific types of equipment that suits Ronin Kenshi pretty good. And the first one is the Shadow Sash. Reason being, if you're playing Ronin Kenshi, you have to block a lot. And this item makes sure that the enemy won't break your block. Because if he does break your block, you're in a big trouble, because first of all, you cannot get your passive triggered, and second of all, you can eat the enemy's special attack without blocking, and you don't want this to happen. And the second item that you require, of course, is a Devastator, for two reasons. First of all, your special one will become godlike, and second of all, you'll be able to power drain, or let's say you're going to have very good chance of power draining the enemy starter. Okay guys, with that said, which are the other good equipment for Ronin Kenshi? I would say his Cento Blade is pretty good if you wanna play him with Block Breaker, and any type of equipment that increases your critical hit damage will be pretty good. However, if you're playing him in a Ronin team, then he will have very good boost on the critical hit chance and critical hit damage, so you can probably focus on boosting your attack and, as I said, boosting your critical hit damage. There was an uncommon piece from the Black Dragon Tower, I believe it was called Dragon Thief. This piece is pretty decent on Kenshi, please keep that in mind. Okay guys, we got to the teams. First thing first, Ronin Kenshi is good in a Ronin team, surprise surprise, but he can be very useful if supported properly, even if the two other team members are not Ronins, such as, for example, Ninjutsu Scorpion, such as, for example, Kunjin, the one that gives one starting bar of power. In other words, if you can support him properly, he can be very good even outside of a Ronin team. But of course, his true power lies in the Ronin team, where he just destroys people with 2 or 3 basic attacks, especially if they're martial artists. Okay guys, Ronin Kenshi, what do you think of him? Do you like him? Do you dislike him? Please let me know in the comments. Once again, he scored 75 points sharp, and we label him as a great character. As usual guys, if you want to see more reviews, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to see more. See you next time guys, take care and stay safe.
Which one of us is blind?
Perfect. Perfect.